And good afternoon, race fans. We welcome you here to the 18th race of the season for the 4th season of the Duracell Cup Series under the NNSCRA banner. We are here today at the Chicago Motor Speedway, getting ready for 63 laps of racing. Now, in the past 4 seasons, we have run Chicago Motor Speedway. Seasons 1 and 2, however, it was a high banked mile racetrack. Last year was the debut of this Chicago Motor Speedway, which there's no such thing as banking. 6 degrees in the corners, 2 degrees on the front and back straightaway. Banking is extremely lacking here, so it's in a way kind of a modified New Hampshire, if you will, in the way that this type of racetrack is, how the drivers approach the corners and how they approach setting up passes, which is also interesting based on the fact we're going to New Hampshire next week. But last season, this debut track, this version of the debut track, it was Dylan Young going to victory lane, while his Young Motorsports teammate lines up on the point for this one, Mitchell Collins, a 2-time winner this year. Alongside of him, another 2-time winner in T Wright, our Daytona 500 winner, and Ford has swept the top 3 starting spots with J Millz lining up in 3rd place. Millz 8th in the point stance, and Ford continues to be on a roll, winning 3 out of the last 4 races, including last week when the defending champion of the series, J Lopes, threw his name back into the ring to try and defend his title at Kansas Speedway. Ford is the defending winner here, as I mentioned, with Dylan Young. Can they continue their dominance? We'll see if that'll be the case here today as we go down trackside and get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Not only is Ford dominating in race wins, and obviously here today in qualifying, they are also dominating in the point standings. Take a look down the description below for the full starting lineup for today's race. As Adam Garcia, 2-time winner, is currently the points leader, 13 points over last week's winner and the defending champion, J Lopes. Mitchell Collins, our pole sitter, is 3rd. He's 20 points back. Carson Gum is the highest running non-blue oval. He's 4th in the standings, 28 points out. And Dylan Young, the defending winner of this race and former winner from this season, he is 5th, 29 points out. Jack Mitchell currently is 6th. N Ormond in 7th. J Millz is 8th. Jesse Turner, 2-time winner in 9th. And 2-time winner K Deaver is currently in 10th. All of our former winners this season with chartered machines are still inside the top 20 in points. Chris Dollerton, 37th in the standings, is in the field, making his 8th start on the season. And we know that he'll be making the Chili Bowl in a couple of weeks as well. Still some announcements to come out of that race, so looking very likely that he could be sniping a playoff spot when we get to the end of the regular season as well. But it's time to get the Air Jordan 400 Chicago Motor Speedway underway. Green flags in the air, and let's roll. Turns 1 and 2, based on what we saw in earlier's non-charter qualifying session, will be the areas for passing, and they wasted no time going 3 and almost 4 wide back here, just inside of the top 5. Benny Watson, a little contact there with Matt Haas, forcing the M&Ms to head way up the track, and he's going to get hooked. Off the nose of Carson Gum. Can he save it? Yes, he can. He straightens it back out. Are we under caution because of this? No. We are not under the caution. Great save there by Matt Haas in the 8, who now drives it way wide into turn 1. He made the contact with Carson Gum. They managed to keep it together somehow. Straighten the 8 car back up. As you can see, he's got that left side damage now. And both he and Carson Gum had to check up a ton in order for him to gather that machine back up. You see those skid marks there off of turn 4, but he kept it together as the battle, it looks like it's going to be on for the lead. J Millz, the most winless driver in the Duracell Cup Series. He will get to the inside of Mitchell Collins, and he'll put that Aquafina Ford Mustang to the point. So far this season, 3 wins for Blue Oval Automotive, 2 courtesy of T Wright. Last week's win with J Lopes. Millz and McIntire still left to win. Both still running really well in points, though. We mentioned Millz in the top 10 in the standings, 8th in points. Levi McIntire, 16th in the standings. So if either one were to win today, more than likely would put themselves into a playoff position, as 2-time winner Jesse Turner now going to work his way by Mitchell Collins, who just like that was out in front leading this race and now is dropped back into a battle for the third position between himself and R Brommer. Should mention, as we said, Dylan Young is the defending winner of this race when this configuration of the track debuted back in Season 3. However, the old configuration, the high banking of the mile track, back in Seasons 1 and 2, won by J Millz in Season 1, and M Haas picked up his first career win in the second season. And Matt, of course, as we just saw, involved there in that near incident off of Turn 4. Car that looks slightly different in the field here today would be a driver who's inside the top 10 in points. That is Jack Mitchell, last season's regular season champion. New sponsorship there for the driver out of JM01 Motorsports. Just made his way around Nathan Ormond. That cracked him into the top 10, I do believe, up to the 10th spot, following behind Phil Parker in the 74. Who, if I'm not mistaken, now is the only chartered driver that is yet to find victory lane in his career. Teammates: Bulldog Motorsports, Dodge Challengers, R Brommer looking for third on Mitchell Collins, Zach Rogers right behind him. R Brommer right now 19th in points. Was on a bit of a skid, especially near the end of the first half of the regular season, starting to slowly climb his way back up. Zach Rogers, on the other hand, we had him at one point down 36th in standings, which is the lowest of all chartered drivers. He's now up to 34th and continuing to climb. I'm looking for a good run here today to continue the ascension, as S3 Motorsports teammates going to battle for 7th place. Charles Sandfer and K Mathews. Both of these drivers struggling. Charles Sandfer 29th in points, K Mathews 36th. And both still looking to find victory lane for the first time this season. Only their teammate, Cole Deaver, has been to victory lane so far for the S3 Motorsports team. Going to victory lane a total of 2 times. T Wright, Daytona 500 winner, and then later on followed it up with a win at the at Bristol, rather. Could not make the pass, and are we under caution? I believe we are. I thought I saw some smoke lingering off of turn 2, but I wasn't 100% sure. Didn't see the lights on, and indeed we are under caution, and it looks like it's going to be for Austin LaPlante. A couple of cars on pit road. I saw Seth Cole there, and Zach Stultz. Drivers that transferred their way into the main event from the non-charter qualifying session, and I'm not sure they're going to beat the pace car off pit road either. Another non-charter qualifier, Dawson Wise. A lot of damage there on the 81. It's hard to tell if the Circuit City Chevrolet of Jacob Thibodeaux got involved. Looks like he is okay, as LaPlante flying by a number of drivers there, I guess trying to get his spot back in line. So caution is out for the first time today. This is going to help M Haas in that 8 machine, because now he'll be able to come down pit road under caution. Yes, he'll lose some spots, but they'll be able to get that damage repaired under caution, under pacing, rather than under green flag conditions. So J Millz leads us under the first caution of the weekend here at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Let's go back and see what happened. Looks like we had 2 incidents actually here. This is what brought the caution out. Dawson Wise and Seth Cole almost kind of looked like from that angle Seth Cole just rode up the track, crowded the 81. Jacob Thibodeaux did get clipped and spun. Also a little bit of contact for James Qualls. Thibodeaux is going to make some contact there as well with the right front of his machine into the inside wall, but really doesn't look like that much visible damage. And then what happens up here between the 48 and the 44? This would explain why LaPlante went flying up to get his spot back, because the caution would have been out at this point, and he crossed the line in the 35th position, and wow. It's almost like the 44 just didn't turn. It's like that thing, like maybe he overcooked it going into the corner, but he certainly did not turn left. That thing went straight, and unfortunately Austin LaPlante was trapped on his outside. Nothing he could do. Both cars go up and into the outside wall. Pretty extensive damage to the left side of the Z's Custom Diecast Dodge, and a lot of rear end damage on Austin LaPlante's Chevrolet. So a wreck, and then a wreck under pacing after taking the caution, as we're under yellow for the first time today. Let's go back now for the restart. We've gotten the 1 to green signal. We'll go back racing on lap 13 of 63. Looks like we are going to have some lap machines that will be on the inside line here, so that should make this restart somewhat interesting. Seth Cole in the 25 and Zach Stoltz in the 44. Remember, they were on pit road and got lapped while sitting on pit road getting their damage repaired. Right now, they are running in 39th and 40th, or make the 41st and 42nd, I should say. 40 cars on the lead lap. All the other drivers involved got their damage repaired, returned back to the track. And another interesting fact, none of our front runners came to pit road. So I don't necessarily know if this caution might have helped these drivers to now be able to make it on fuel. Remember, we ran 38 laps earlier on today in the non-charter qualifying race, and pit road did not play a factor there. So we don't really know exactly what the fuel window is, but if we go based off last season, we had a round of green flag pit stops, which in the end ended up being how Dylan Young won that race, which at that time was his third win of the season. So we'll see. I think pit road still is going to be a factor here today, regardless of this caution. As J Millz gets us back underway, Jesse Turner clears for second. Brommer clears for third. Now fourth place, Zach Rogers going to have to try and get around Seth Cole, and they are stacked up behind them, almost four wide, with T Wright, Charles Sandfer, K Mathews, and it was Jack Mitchell that made the bold move to try and take it four abreast through 1 and 2. Zach Stoltz in the 44, now caught in the middle. Oh, this is tight. J Gardner forcing the issue there. N Ormond in the mix. They're still four wide for a brief moment there down the front straightaway. They now settle it out to 3 wide going into turn 1. Now trying to make their way around the wounded machine of Seth Cole. Still 3 wide back here. Belding looking 4 wide as Charles Sandfer trap on the 25. Now he cuts down in front of Phil Parker, who in turn almost cuts down in front of Matthew Rodriguez. Things really wadded up back here as these drivers continue to try and work their way past the lap traffic. Zach Stoltz wadding him up back there. That was Ryan Butcher that was getting held up. Now he darts low right in front of Joshua Osborne. Right now Charles Sandfer just saying, get out of the way to the Liberty University Chevy. Hopefully all that's going to get settled out as Sandfer continues to lose spots. Back up towards the front though. Second place just exchanged hands. Zach Rogers getting around Jesse Turner. And now he sets his sights on the Aquafina Ford of J Millz. Dodge only has 1 win this season. That, of course, was Ryan Brommer. And that was back in the desert at ISM. Bulldog Motorsports has had their 2 cars, the 6 and the 9, their regular chartered cars, in the Final 4 in the last 2 seasons. They've not been able to capitalize on either season, but this year, looking somewhat different. They do have Ryan Brommer for the moment locked into the playoffs with his victory, but Zach Rogers got a lot of work to do. Pole sitter Mitchell Collins trying to claw his way back to the front. Looking to the inside of Ryan Brommer for 4th place, nothing doing. N Ormond, who's really been the dark horse, if I'm not, if I could say that. Well, despite being a winner last season in his rookie year. But this season, he's been very quiet. One of those drivers that you look in the point stand and you say, oh, wow, he's there. I mean, he's 7th in points. He was 11th in the standings heading into last week's race at Kansas. Had a solid outing there. Jumps up into the top 10. And this is a guy that could very easily, with a win today, lock himself into the championship picture. Now, the one interesting thing about all of this is, if we look back at the last couple of races, with the exception of Jordan Lopez, there have been a lot of repeat winners. Adam Garcia got his 2nd win at Dover. Cole Deaver, his 2nd win at the Indy Grand Prix Road Course. Mitchell Collins, his 2nd win at Charlotte. And even back during the first half of the regular season, Mitchell Collins winning back at Fuel Motorsports Park. That was his 2nd win. Or I'm sorry, make that Jesse Turner. That was his 2nd win. So we've had a lot of repeat winners. And as of right now, if my calculations are correct, I believe we've had 11 winners so far this season for the chartered drivers, which means there are 5 spots still open. And including today's race, we've still got 9 more races. So there's very good odds that we're going to have at least 5 more different drivers go to victory lane in those 16 slots will all be taken by race winners. The wild card in all of this is the 83 of Chris Dollerton, and I would focus back on him, but this is actually a battle closing up for the race lead. But with Chris Dollerton now making his 8th start of the season, and we know he's going to make his 9th start at the Chili Bowl in 2 weeks, he's only got to make one more start, and with his win at Manassas, he is guaranteed, if he makes 10 regular season chartered starts, he is guaranteed, regardless of how many other chartered drivers we have that have won this season, a spot in the playoffs. So there's very much the likelihood that we could end up having 17, 18, 19 different chartered drivers go to victory lane, and only 15 of them make it into the playoffs because Dollerton is going to snipe away one of those playoff positions. So things getting very interesting in regards to the non-charter qualifying series and how it relates now to the main event races that we're seeing here for the chartered drivers. Slick move there for Jack Mitchell. Just made his way around Trey Wright, move him up to 6th. Levi McIntyre right now in 9th. Johnny Gardner in 10th. Pretty good runs for 3 of the 4 Johanna Atwood Motorsports cars. You got Nathan Ormond right now in 8th. Gardner in 10th. And just behind them, trying to move into 11th, is Ryan Acosta, trying to get around K Mathews. As Ormond ran the corner a little wide there through 1 and 2, Levi McIntyre took a look. Not able to get there in that battle for 8th place. Mitchell on the back bumper of Mitchell Collins now. And one thing that we saw in the non-charter race is when we go into a long run, we start to see who had their car set up for the longer run and who did not. Right now, it's looking like that 0-1 may very well be set up for the long run, as we just had a... Well, I thought we had a pass. It's actually a pass to put the 81 of Dawson Wise a lap down. And that may have allowed Zach Rogers to possibly close up the gap there on Jose Millz, because Millz caught the 81 going into a corner. And Rogers now about a car length and a half back. Jesse Turner now having to make his way around that slower machine out of Michael Norman Motorsports. Ryan Brommer completes the pass there as well. Johnny Gardner trying to work his way further up in the top 10, along with his teammate Ryan Acosta. Gardner looking for 9th on Levi McIntyre. A lot of the drivers down there in the cellar as far as the chartered drivers of the point standings, all having very good runs right now. K Mathews, who is 36th in points, currently scored in 12th. Zach Rogers, who is 34th in points, right now in the runner-up spot, and not too far back, there's Carter Friesen in the 37. He comes into this race 33rd in points. 35th in points isn't all that far back either. William Brock right now in the 18th spot. So a lot of drivers that are outside the top 30 in the standings, all having decent outings inside of the top 20. As there's a look at last week's winner, Jordan Lopez, who said, hey, if you're going to win the championship this season, you're going to have to go through the defending champ. Picking up his first win of the season at Kansas, throwing his hat into the ring. And now he's trying to see if he can take the points lead going into New Hampshire next week. He's got some work to do in that regard, though. 13 points behind Adam Garcia, and right now Garcia is running ahead of him. Right now the 23 in the 14th position. Move up to the front, see if that battle for the lead may have closed up. It's still there. About a car length and a half still between Jose Millz and Zach Rogers. And again, I still think pit road is going to play a factor in the outcome of this race. If we're going to go back to last season, it's the only other race that we've run here at this configuration of Chicago Motor Speedway. And when Dylan Young picked up that victory, he did it playing the strategy of staying out the longest. A lot of drivers tried to short pit, take advantage of the fresh tires. It did not work for them. Dylan Young stayed out the longest that he could and cycled around as the race leader, eventually going on to win. So we'll see if anybody may have looked at last season's playbook and maybe thinking about doing something similar here today. Nathan Ormond going to work his way around Trey Wright. So the 45 will jump up into the 7th position. Johnny Gardner right there trying to see if he can pounce for 8th. He'll stay to the inside of Trey Wright through 3 and 4. See if he can get the run off the corner. Trey Wright's going to have the exit speed, run a little bit higher of a line. Gardner's going to have the advantage there. And he may have the advantage being alongside going here into turns 1 and 2. We'll see if T Wright can battle back. Not really sure he can. And no, Gardner will take the position. T Wright going to tuck in front of his Blue Oval Automotive teammate, Levi McIntyre, dropping back to the 9th spot. Battle up ahead of them for 4th. Jack Mitchell's Chevrolet against Ryan Brommer's Dodge. Mitchell has the advantage off of 4, so this pass more than likely will be completed over in 1 and 2. That's the thing, too. If you're stuck on that outside line battling with somebody, especially if you have a line of cars behind you, you want to get back in line. Give up that spot, get back in line, because you're going to get freight trained and lose spots if you try and battle back there on the top side of 1 and 2. Zach Stoltz going another lap down. That time, instead of J Millz getting held up, it was actually Zach Rogers that had a little bit more difficulty getting around him, which is kind of interesting based on the fact you would think there'd be some kind of a alliance between the Dodge Challengers, but apparently not. Looks like they'll be catching the 25 of Seth Cole fairly soon as well. Still, as far as I'm aware, we'll double check. I believe everybody is still running. Oh no, we've had a couple of retirees. And I'm not certain why. And this would have been under this run. Matt Haas has gone to the garage area. Now we know that he got some earlier damage from, I guess we'll call it a near spin off turn 4 in the beginning stages of this race. But apparently mechanical issues have put him behind the wall. And Vince L Mariego in the 42 is out of the race as well. He'll finish in 42nd. Almariego 26th in points. Matt Haas 25th in points. Both those drivers were looking for good runs today, and they have DNF'd from this race. Hopefully if we get a chance, if I remember, we'll be able to see what happened to them, to put them behind the wall, courtesy of the NRC split cam. May or may not. Not making any blanket promises here, is N Ormond. Continuing to move forward. This time he's got the pole sitter Mitchell Collins in his sights. Johnny Gardner ran way up the track, and I mean way, way up the track. I mean, there's no grip up there in the 3rd groove. That allows Levi McIntyre to easily pick that one and move himself into the 8th spot. N Ormond, Mitchell Collins continue to battle each other hard. Collins almost drove right down the passenger door of the 45 to defend the spot, but Ormond will take it, moving into 6th. I think that 01 might be the fastest car on the track right now. Let's take a look at lap time comparison. Last time by, 30.080 for J Millz, 7.63 for Zach Rogers, 8.88 for Turner, and 7.89 for Jack Mitchell. So actually, Zach Rogers was the fastest of the top 4 that lap. So now he makes his way around Seth Cole, our winner earlier on today in the non-charter qualifying race. Battle for the lead closes up, battle for 3rd closes up, and the battle for 3rd may close up even more when they approach that number 25. Right now, just in terms of visually, it looks like Jack Mitchell has the best long-run machine. It's Turner having to bail out of the throttle for a little bit longer than I think he wanted to, as he kind of got tight underneath the 25, giving the preferred line, the inside line, to the 47. Jack Mitchell makes quick work of Seth Cole down the front straightaway. Further back, the points leader's making some moves. Adam Garcia trying to get to the inside of Kyle Mathews. That would be for 13th place. Garcia is already locked into the playoffs with 2 wins on the season. His first 2 career wins at Michigan and then a couple of weeks ago at Dover. So he's already locked into the playoffs. Now what he's trying to do is manage the gap between himself, Jordan Lopez, Mitchell Collins, Carson Gum, and others to try and win the regular season championship, because that is an extra 15 bonus points heading into the reformatted playoff points. Levi McIntyre losing the spot to Johnny Gardner. Gardner now moves up to 8th. Rogers is still there on the back bumper of J Millz, and so with this being said, I almost wonder, when these drivers do come down pit road, does Rogers come down the same lap that J Millz does, or does he try something different? Because he's definitely got a car that can get up there to J Millz. It just seems like he's having difficulty getting around him. You saw right there he was trying something different, ran a little bit higher in 1 and 2, and that just is not going to work. There's not enough rubber laid down up there, and I'm not really sure you can lay enough rubber up there for that to work, just based on the fact that it's so low of banking. You carry that much speed into the corner, and I mentioned this in the non-charter qualifying race. There's no banking to be able to lean that right rear tire into, so the car won't turn, the car won't rotate. It's almost as if you're just driving straight into the corner, and I mean straight in a literal sense. They got around Dawson Wise, did the top two. Now Jesse Turner trying to make the pass. Jack Mitchell right there behind him, so Mitchell might have Jesse Turner set up for a pass for third place momentarily. See just how much brakes these drivers are using. The front end of the car bogging down, the splitter hitting the racetrack. These cars take a beating, these brakes take a beating, and that's why you have to be very careful with it, because in these long runs, last thing you want is for your brakes to go out. Jack Mitchell now makes the peak to the inside of Jesse Turner. Not going to be able to complete the pass this time. He might have to actually wait until we get back around to turns 1 and 2 again to complete this pass, as Turner will have a little bit of a run here through 3 and 4 in that second groove. Tries to clear up the corner, can't do it, and the race leader is in. J Millz is going to come to pit road from the lead. J Qualls was already there. N Ormond is going to give up a spot inside the top 10 to come to pit road as well. So I guess the fuel window's open for these drivers to come down pit lane. Zach Rogers is about to put Chris Dollerton a lap down in the 83. Looks like there might be some damage on the front end of that. Oh, there's damage on the right side of Dollerton. So he's had an incident, apparently. Rogers stays out. Mitchell stays out, but Turner comes in from the second position. Ryan Brommer is in, and they were banging doors between Levi McIntyre and Johnny Gardner coming down pit road. Mitchell Collins, Trey Wright, Ryan Acosta. Points leader Adam Garcia, K Mathews, Carter Friesen, and others on pit road this time. There was Carson Gum. He was on pit road. Same lap, it looks like, as J Millz. Zach Rogers running it really wide there. He'll make it onto pit road, though. Jack Mitchell going to follow him in. And now Phil Parker and William Brock are going to come down pit road. Dylan Young's coming in. A couple of non-charter machines, and Joshua Osborne, Justin Dearborn, Cole Baker, Jessica Shelton, Keith Batson. I don't know who this is going to cycle the lead around to. 75 and 18 of Watson and Norman. I think they were on pit road 2 laps ago. And now Chris Dollerton, the one that stayed out the longest, he comes to pit road. Lead looks like it could very well cycle back around to J Millz, who was pretty much the first of the leaders to pit. There were a couple of drivers that were on pit road prior to that. He's gotten around Jack Mitchell. There's Zach Rogers in the 6. Coming off of pit lane. Does he pass him? Or does Rogers come out ahead of him? Oh, this is close. This is really close. And Rogers, I think, might be able to get up to speed. He'll have the inside line on J Millz. They'll take this battle off of turn 4 to the start-finish line. Zach Rogers, did the strategy work? No, it did not. J Millz got the run around the top. His tires had warmed up already, so he was able to get that grip on that second groove. He'll move around Zach Rogers for the race lead. Rogers now under fire from J Qualls. That's not for position. Qualls is currently 35th. 1 lap down, I believe. And this is not what Zach Rogers needs at all. However, if J Qualls wants to really get his lap back and he gets up here and races with the 98, that could open up the door for Zach Rogers to capitalize. Now, right now, after the cycle of pit stops, 34 drivers on the lead lap. Qualls is a lap down in 35th. Thibodeaux is trapped a lap down as well. You see him there in the 33, not too far back. He's got some damage, does Thibodeaux. Some front-end damage. Seth Cole, Dawson Wise, Chris Dollerton, Zach Stoltz, all trapped 1 lap down. And as we mentioned, 2 drivers out of the race. As, whoa, there was contact there between Qualls and race leader J Millz. But M Haas and V Almariego out of this race, as you'd think J Qualls right now was racing for the victory, as he is all over J Millz and he wants his lap back. Now, the reason Qualls is racing this hard is because we had a caution in the early stages of this race back on, I think it was lap 9, 8 or 9. We've been green ever since, but there is the possibility we could end up having another caution before this race is over. And J Qualls doesn't want to be trapped a lap down. He wants to be on the lead lap and be able to pick up some spots before this race is over should a caution come out. So certainly don't blame him racing as hard as he is with the race leaders to try and get that lap back. And he's also a dodge. Could he be trying to help Zach Rogers here? A fellow challenger? We'll see. Rogers is going to get to the inside of James Qualls, though. We'll see how much of a fight James is going to put up. As J Millz says, you guys keep racing side by side, I'll start opening up my lead. As at the line that time, we hit 15 laps to go. So time is ticking away. N Ormond picked up a lot of spots there on that run. Remember, he came down pit road with J Millz. He's now moved his way up into the 4th position and on the back bumper of Jesse Turner for 3rd as Turner tries to get around the lap machine of Thibodeaux. Rogers completed the pass on James Qualls. He'll now go back to work on trying to reel J Millz back in. We'll see if he finally is going to be able to make a pass on the 98. Jack Mitchell's going to cycle up into the 5th position. Ryan Brommer in 6th, and it's a long ways back before you get to 7th place running J Gardner. 8th place right now, Levi McIntyre. Pole sitter Mitchell Collins is in 9th, and former champion Ryan Acosta currently is 10th. 11th is William Brock. Carter Friesen's in 12th. Points leader Adam Garcia, 13th. 14th, T Wright. 15th is K Mathews. 16th is Phil Parker. Right now, the highest running of our non-charter drivers is Joshua Osborne. He's in the 17th spot. 18th, last week's winner, Jordan Lopez. Defending winner of this race, Dylan Young is in 19th, and Cole Deaver completes the top 20. Carson Gum is 21st, 22nd, Charles Sandfer. 23rd place is under contest. Right now, it belongs to Justin Dearborn. Benny Watson trying to take the spot. He's 24th. Matthew Rodriguez, 25th. 26th is Cole Baker. 27th, Cody Llamas. 28th, Michael Norman. 29th is Ryan Butcher. Charles Belding mired back in 30th with Patrick Smith 31st. 32nd, Jessica Shelton. 33rd is Keith Batson. Austin LaPlante is in 34th, and he is the last car currently running on the lead lap. And look at this. All of a sudden, it's turned into a 4-car party at the front. Ford, Dodge currently, and none of them are teammates. A Ford out of BOA, a Ford out of Lake Effect Autosport, a Dodge out of Bulldog, and a Dodge out of Joanna Atwood. And now it's going to be Ormond that's going to make the first move to the inside of Jesse Turner. Might try and go 2 for the price of 1. He clears the 47. Tried to get to the inside of the 6. Couldn't quite do it. But he has been fast, has N Ormond. Ever since the green flag dropped, trying to pick up his first win of the season. Last year was a winner as a rookie. At that year, it was Toyotas that Joanna Atwood Motorsports was running. Trying to remember if he was a 2-time winner. I know he had a win at Bristol. I can't remember if he followed that up with another win or not. He had at least a win last year. I know that. But he was too far down in points for it to count towards a playoff position. Now Zach Rogers starting to fall off. I don't know what adjustment they made there on that pit stop, but it has not worked. And look at Ormond. Picked one off, picked another off, and now he's going for the lead. And he made that rotation to the inside through the center of 3 and 4 look easy. It was almost as if J Millz left the door open, but no. N Ormond drove that car down to the inside, and he's going to go to the front. So far this season, Joanna Atwood Motorsports has a 0 in their win column. Ormond is trying to change that, as now he'll try and get by Dawson Wise. Seth Cole in the 25 back on pit road. Now the reason that he's actually on pit road, I shouldn't say back on pit road, Seth Cole and Zach Stoltz were able to stay out a little bit longer because they were actually on pit road back on lap 8. So they were able to make it a little bit further than everybody else. And J Millz, all of a sudden, he is losing spots. Dropped from the lead, now all the way back to the 4th position. And might lose that if Jack Mitchell can get up here behind the 33. Got a good run off of 4. We'll see if he'll be able to get to the inside here going into turn 1. Not quite close enough. So now Jesse Turner trying to become the season's first 3-time winner. Turner winning this year at Pikes Peak, the dirt track of Fuel Motorsports Park, which If you think about it, Fuel Motorsports Park is actually a lot like New Hampshire, just dirt covered, so I guess similar configuration. Obviously, the surface is entirely different, but there may be something you can adapt from there over to a track like this. But he's got about 6 more laps to try and figure out how he's going to cut down 1.2 seconds between himself and the race leader, Nathan Ormond. That last time by, Ormond was faster by roughly about 4/100ths. New sponsorship this season for Nathan Ormond, Holiday Inn coming on board. He retained sponsorship from Burger King that he had last season. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Burger King was actually on his car when he went to victory lane for his first career win back at Bristol. Dawson Wise coming off pit road. That was a regularly scheduled stop for the 81. Pass for 4th. Jack Mitchell will take the spot away from J Millz. Doesn't look like we're going to have a caution here to set us up for a late race restart. It's all going to come down to raw speed out of these race cars. Nathan Ormond's Dodge and Jesse Turner's Ford. That time by, did the gap increase or decrease? It increased by 1/10. Ormond having to deal with traffic. Seth Cole in the 25 moving up out of the way. As it's going to be 3.5 laps here for Nathan Ormond before he's going to possibly pick up his first win of the season. 7th in points, 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s, an average finishing position of around 17th for Nathan Ormond, and if he wins today, more than likely a playoff spot. 3 laps to go. See if there's any battles going on here inside of the top 10 and coming down to the closing stages. Not really seeing any. Best battle back here is for the 10th position. Carter Friesen just got around Levi McIntyre. You got William Brock just ahead. Ryan Acosta just behind. Going to be a great points day nonetheless for Zach Rogers, who right now is trying to hold the 3rd position. Jack Mitchell hounding him in the 0-1. J Millz, Jack Mitchell, they'll stay up in the top 10 in points, but they're still looking for a golden ticket to the playoffs in the form of a checkered flag. As there you see the gap back there, which is nearly 1.5 seconds right now. Nathan Ormond coming through 3 and 4. You hear him feathering the throttle through those final 2 corners. He'll come off and see the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Talked about how dominant Ford has been this season. Chevrolet has gone to victory lane, I believe, 3 times, with Cole Deaver twice and Charles Belding once. Toyota has gone to victory lane once. That was with Ryan Butcher. And up to now, Dodge had only had 1 win with Ryan Brommer. They're about to make it 2 as Joanna Atwood Motorsports second-year driver Nathan Ormond comes off turn 4. And the Air Jordan 400 at Chicago Motor Speedway belongs to Nathan Ormond. Turner takes 2nd. Rogers in 3rd. Jack Mitchell and J Millz, they will complete the top 5 as someone's engine blew crossing the start-finish line. Not sure who that was. I couldn't tell. Caution's out, too. Oh, we got a car wrecking up in turn 1. That's Carter Friesen. Was that the car that was blowing up coming to the start-finish line? If it was, he managed to cross the line in 10th place with a blown-up motor. But Nathan Ormond gonna take the checkered flag here today and may have just clinched himself a spot into his first Duracell Cup Series chase for the championship. Just out of curiosity, I want to go back to that 37 car. There he is. I want to see if he did indeed blow up coming across the start-finish line, because if he did, talk about timing. Yeah, he did. Look at this. Off turn 4. Gap back to Levi McIntyre. There goes the engine right there, about a couple feet away from the start-finish line, but he held on just long enough, and then he gets hit from behind by Levi McIntyre and Ryan Acosta, but at least he made it. At least it was on the last lap coming off turn 4, and he had enough momentum to hang on to that 10th position, so that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Standings are official. We gave you the top 5. Ryan Brommer's going to bring it home in 6th. Johnny Gardner 7th. Mitchell Collins 8th. 9th for William Brock and 10th for Carter Friesen. This was probably the best race of the season for the Dodges. Not only did we end up seeing some Dodges qualify their way into the main event with Zach Stoltz and Joshua Osborne, but we also saw 4 of the Dodges finish here inside of the top 10 in 1st, 3rd, 6th, and 7th. So very good runs for the Dodge Challengers here today. Levi McIntyre was 11th, Ryan Acosta 12th, and we just talked about Joshua Osborne. He was the highest finishing of the non-charter drivers, 13th place. I think that might be his best career finish in a chartered event. Trey Wright will get 14th, and Kyle Mathews is going to complete the top 15. Dylan Young, Phil Parker, Jordan Lopez, Charles Sanford, and Benny Watson completed the top 20. Adam Garcia was the points leader coming in. He finished in 21st. Lopez did finish 3 spots ahead of him, but I don't think he would necessarily take the points lead. I don't know about Mitchell Collins. 20 points back. He finishes 8th to Garcia's 21st. I know he won't take the points lead either, but he'll definitely close it up. So it may be some young motorsports teammates that'll be duking it out when we get to New Hampshire next week to see who's going to be taking the points lead into the Chili Bowl. 34 drivers finished on the lead lap. A lot of drivers had some incidents take place here under green flag conditions, which hopefully I do remember to show you guys on the replays. But Thibodeaux, Qualls, Dollerton, Seth Cole, Dawson Wise, and Zach Stoltz all finished off the lead lap. Chris Dollerton, the goal still was to make it into the race. He did that. And then 2 drivers finished out of the race. Mechanical problem for Matt Haas. I'm almost wondering if his engine might have let go, much like Carter Friesen's did. And V Almariego also out of the race as well. They finished 41st and 42nd. Well, this track, very low on banking, as we said, kind of reminds me a lot of New Hampshire. What a coincidence. Next week, we're going up to the Northeast at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire for the 19th race of the season. That'll set the stage for that big event coming up when we get dirt track racing under the lights at the Chili Bowl. That'll be race number 20. But great race here today. Nathan Ormond picks up his first win of the season. Subsequently could be locking himself into his first playoff appearance as he wins at Chicago Motor Speedway. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finisher results, and these are the point standings heading into New Hampshire next week. We'll see you guys then. I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.